the English in the last couple hundred years has purposely made Sunday boring. And they've done this by closing all the shops, making the transport shut early, making it a day dedicated to church. And I mean, even like modern day, I mean, it's like the gym kind of, the gym community will rest on a Sunday. And they've basically managed to change mass psychology so that everyone kind of just flops about. And he talks about it through the context of uh, obviously he's kind of a big Nietzsche is a big critique of religion in the way that he a critique is sometimes the best friend in that he kind of critiques in the best possible way. But he references going to church on Sunday being this suppression of the will to power of the working class to keep them um, doing what they normally do and conforming to this mass ideology and yeah, suppressing the will to power. So yeah, I thought of that and I was like, that's kind of cool. And which I guess for myself, I believe a Sunday is the same day to me as a Thursday, as a Monday. It's all the same. I psychologically approach it the same, and I guess what comes out of this is well, should you believe in a Sunday, in a this day of the week, I'm going to dedicate my day to rest. What is how should we rest as humans? Should we rest when we're told to rest? As an athlete, how do you rest? Um, yeah, that's just a bit of a random point.
Hmm. Well, it is interesting that. Sorry, I'm just finishing my notes here because I do have a point I want to go on to later. But it is interesting that we create these like routines and schedules based on a calendar that is sort of it is a human creation. It is a social construct, the idea of a work week and a weekend. Days are the same for the sun and for trees and stuff. So on one hand, you go, well, maybe it's, yeah, that the way we've curated a Sunday makes us want to go back to work on the Monday, but also you could argue the opposite. People do want that slow day. People do want that rest, and actually it provides them. There was a time in history where weekends weren't a thing. You just worked every day, or you were fucking enslaved. Do you know what I mean? Like we live in a world now where weekends are a mad privilege that we live in. If you're in the agricultural era and you need to like work every single day, 12 to 14, 16 hours a day just to like provide for your family, it's just a different time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting. There was a time where weekends didn't exist.
Well, no, they didn't. There was just days.
Well, like 500 years ago.
I don't really know the specifics on it, but if you were a peasant in the Middle Ages, you didn't have a weekend. You know what I mean? You didn't have Sunday to relax. You couldn't lie. There was no such thing as a lion. There was just like you got up and there were things to do, and there were always things to do that needed to be
Yeah,
done for you to
I
sort of
think
survive.
we can think of weekends as reflection, and we should be maybe privileged in that we have that time to reflect. And I mean, it's also has links to what is it, the God creating the world, and that on the seventh day he kind of just looked at what he created and rested.
Rested, yeah. Well, it's interesting, right? This is the point I was writing down. When I went to Longleat Safari, right, and I'm driving about now, if this, I promise you, this is going somewhere. I'm at Longleat Safari, driving through like the monkey territory, the tiger territory, the wolves and stuff, and you pass by like different deer and antelope and zebras and giraffes and ostriches and all that, right? What was a common theme that I picked up? All the animals are resting. Right. Now, you could argue, of course, that that's because of the environment they're in. They are in captivity, but it's not the same at Longleat as like a zoo. They have these massive wide open spaces to live within. They're not enclosed in a cage where there's a screen where people are staring at them all day. You kind of drive through their territory. So it did have a different vibe. And like, I think when I've gone to zoos in the past, I can see the sort of poor mental health of the animal. Whereas in this place, I didn't get that same energy. But what they were all doing is they were resting and they would get up to eat or like if they were a prey animal, they were just sort of chewing on the grass constantly, just kind of in this very chill, very present flow. And I'm like, if you look at the human animal, we're doing the complete opposite of these guys. We are constantly moving, constantly rushing, constantly working, thinking about how we can improve our productivity, filling our time, squeezing as much like activity into our existence as we can. And you look at our animal counterparts, and they don't have that drive. They'll eat, they'll sleep, and they'll rest, and they'll enjoy the sun. I don't know. It's just there was something interesting about it where I go, we're so separate from animals in many ways, but also we're not. We have a lot of the same sort of basic biological systems as them, and this is how they live their life. It's like when Naval Ravikant said that we should work like a lion in terms of we do like this big high intensity sprint in a short space of time as your work day, and the rest of the time you're resting, you're recovering, you're reflecting, like you said. So I don't know. That's just something that I thought about a few weeks ago that I'd thought of from what you said.
It reminds me of when you told me about some guy talking about ayahuasca in a podcast, and that no one comes from the ayahuasca trip and says they need to work more.
Yes, that's it. He said no one leaves an ayahuasca retreat saying they need to work harder and be more horrible to people.